Welcome back to another episode of the MacRumors Show. Hartley, how's it going, man?
It's good. Yeah.
How's before we jump into our main topic of the Apple Watch, because we didn't get a chance to touch on that last week. Everything's been dominated by the iPhone. So let's start this episode with the iPhone. Just real quick, because you haven't had it. You haven't had a chance to play with it, and now you have. You've had a few days. Give me the Hartley mini review, your first impressions of the iPhone 15 Pro. You went with the Pro, right? And what color did you get?
The natural titanium, which I think most people did this year. I think that's definitely the most popular color.
That's what I went with.
But first impressions, I would say I really love the new design. I think it makes a massive difference. It's a massive difference from a lot of really small changes. The curved glass, the contoured edges, the brushed titanium, and even the fact that the whole footprint of the whole device is slightly smaller. It makes a really substantial difference in my mind. Even though it's just a lot of very small things. And I really appreciate the reduction in weight as well. That feels really noticeable. So really happy with those things. And I really like the action button as well. The biggest problem I've had is trying to work out a single action that I want to use it for. But other than that, no, I've been really happy with it.
There have been some videos and people, Steven, I sent you that tweet. He did what I wanted to do. So shout out to him. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of good content out there of people making the action button be a little bit more robust, bringing in a sheet of different actions that you can do. And I'm also in the same boat. I haven't decided what I wanted to do with it yet, so I just made it the camera, which I really do enjoy. Hopefully I can find something that I really like and want to stick with. I'm in absolute love with the idea of the action button, but I have not found something that I want to, this is going to be the iPad all over again for me, and Final Cut Pro and all of that. I'm going to be so into it but never use it. But I hope not. And one thing that I really do enjoy is the design. You're right. I know people are going to think we're crazy, but the design, the slight design changes make such a huge difference that I've picked up other phones like 13 Pro Max, 14 Pro Max, others with that design from the iPhone 12 with that squared off, the sharper. It's not nearly as comfortable now as the 15 Pro and Pro Max. It feels so much better. Gave it to my wife, asked her what she thought, and she was like, she said this felt more compact compared to the 13 Pro Max, which is what she has. And she said it was a little bit more comfortable, a little bit lighter. All of these are welcome design changes. I understand that if you put a case on it, it's probably not going to be the same as we're describing it, just because you're adding more weight, you're adding a different feel. But for us who are not currently using a case, I really like it. Did you get a case? That was my question. Did you get the FineWoven case?
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Oh,
that's not a FineWoven?
I hated it.
Oh, okay.
No, this is the clay silicone.
Okay.
But I went to the Apple store. I had a look at the FineWoven cases, the FineWoven accessories for the first time in person, and I hated them. I didn't expect I'd hate them as much as I actually hate them. I think that no disrespect to anyone that's using it and enjoying it. And there's a lot of why you may enjoy that. I think they have some great colors, for example. It's also great to try something different. So I'm not, slighting anyone that is, enjoying their FineWoven. But to me, I think it does not feel like a $60 product. To me, it feels like a cheap nylon raincoat. To me, it does not feel at all like suede. It doesn't even feel like fabric. It just feels like a mixture of cardboard and plastic. And every single one in the Apple store I was in awful condition, truly terrible condition.
Already?
And I even saw, and I saw people going up to them and saying to the people in the Apple store, well, where are the leather cases? And they were saying, no, we don't do leather anymore. Now this is what they do. And I saw people would go up and feel them and then just immediately say, no, I don't want that.
That's funny.
And I saw this with at least 3 people. I was pretty shocked, and I don't think it's just Twitter backlash. And I've asked other people that I was at the Apple store with what they thought, and they also did not like it. at all. And the silicone case to me now feels more premium, even the edges of the case. I'm really quite surprised by just how much I actually dislike it.
I am wondering if this case is just going to go away. Like, it might not be renewed for a second season, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think it's not good. I will say early on, though, for me, and I will also preface this by saying I have not used it at all since I got it. But I put it on, I unboxed it, we did a quick thing. My impressions of the feel and everything, I actually didn't mind it. But I can tell where it's going to go, and it's not going to be good. So, and honestly, I just love the way the phone felt so much that no matter what case I had, I really didn't want to put one on there. Now, I am traveling this week. We're recording this a little earlier than we normally do, so I'm probably going to put a case on it just because I don't want to accidentally drop it on the plane or something, which I do for some reason. But I don't know that that's going to be the case that I take. I'm going to be honest. I don't know that that's the one that I take with me. So we'll see. But I really like the wallet, though, I will say. And that's mostly because... Go ahead. What were you going to say about it?
The wallet does feel a little better, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's thicker, but I do think the wallet feels slightly less horrific.
So all the things that I loved about the Apple Wallet, the MagSafe wallet initially, when it's back in its leather days, was that it was just really compact and it connected magnetically to your phone. And yeah, it was nice that I would know approximately where it might be, but I really wanted like a U chip in there so that I can precision track it. That would be ultimately the next step. And I don't know if it's just not possible or what with the thickness. I don't know what they got to do, but I'm hoping that somehow makes its way over so that you can get precision tracking, because we've all known I lost my wallet, and yeah, I knew where it was, but I lost it in Universal Studios. So like, how am I supposed to find it there? I mean, come on, it could have been anywhere. And so, yeah, I mean, good to know a general direction of where it might be, not so much when you lose it in a giant theme park. So, but I love the wallet in the sense that I can fit, I guess, barely enough cards, but it was just so slim. And I hate wallets. I hate carrying them around with me. But if I have to, I want it to be as tiny as possible. And so the one thing that, like, my biggest gripe, aside from the tracking, was getting the cards in and out was really hard when you put 3 in there, which is the max that it can hold. But on this new one, for some reason, it works super well in terms of getting the cards out. They just slide right out. Not enough to be like concerned that it's going to fall out on its own, but just enough to be able to like, oh, hey, quickly get out whatever card I need. I used to have like a system that I explained earlier. Like I'd put my like raised card numbers facing that little opening so that I had something to grip on and like swipe up to pull out. I don't have to do that anymore. And so I was really happy about that. I'm still using that wallet. I'm okay with it. If it could fit one more card and if it had any better precision tracking, I'd say it's the perfect wallet for me. But yeah, I mean, the FineWoven, the material seems to be okay. It is getting scratched a little more than I would probably like if I put keys with it and stuff. But it's not like falling apart or anything. It's just starting to wear a little bit. I don't know if you can even notice like some of those little scratches there.
I don't think that the wear and tear is the problem with it for me, because I can see how if it got really scratched, wear can sometimes look good. It's like the mirrored backs of iPods from years ago. They could look nice when they were really scratched, and I can see how this material, like a sort of kind of waxed canvas fabric, wears on other things like a coat or a bag. I can see how that looks okay. What bothers me is it just feels cheap. It does not feel soft. It doesn't feel pleasant.
On the wallet,
I do not like the feel of it.
On the wallet, it's different. It does feel soft. On the wallet, it feels like Alcantara almost to me. You see that scratch there though? Like those are those little nicks, but it looks okay. It looks like it's just naturally like wearing. I don't know. It's only been a couple of days though.
The doesn't bother me, as I say. It's just the quality. I just don't love the material as a replacement for leather. I don't think it has the same luxurious feel that leather has, and it definitely is not. You say it's soft. I don't think it's that soft. I think that calling it soft is generous.
Really?
I think
Maybe I
it
just don't know what
reminds me
soft
more of
means.
like the fibrous nature of cardboard.
No.
It reminds me of like the fibers of paper,
You're
the
being
way
too
that you could
harsh.
say like a cardboard box is soft.
No,
Maybe I am,
what?
but I really wanted that taupe FineWoven.
Yeah, this is what
And
this is.
it's
And
just, I just was so disappointed.
I think the wallet feels different than the case for sure, and it's supposed to be the same material, so I don't know how that's possible. But I mean, I think it definitely feels different. Also, did you notice the size of the case felt different too? It almost felt like real leather.
I thought it just felt like cheap plastic,
Hmm.
personally. I didn't like the size either.
Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Listen, we all have different
People
ways.
yeah, some people do like them, and I'm not, all power to those people that are enjoying and using this case. And I really wish I could be among them, but it's just not for me. And a lot of people online have
Yeah.
also said the same thing. So I don't think I'm alone in this. I think it's just maybe quite a divisive accessory that, some people love it, some people hate it. Like the MagSafe wallet. Some people hate that wallet, but some people love it. I've been using it for 2 years at this point, and I really like it.
My relationship with the wallet is that I hate that I love it. That's the problem. But when it comes back to the iPhone, the other thing that I've been using a lot is log recording. I actually really like it. I think there's something there. I can't use it all the time because the file sizes are just insane. I think you only get like 50 minutes. This is a 512 gig iPhone. I can only record for 50 minutes, and my entire iPhone will be done for. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's not
Maybe
good.
it's time to use an SSD.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I got. But you know what? Honestly, I've seen some people say this, and I kind of agree. The moment I need to go out of my way to have an SSD plugged in and like make sure it's somehow attached so that it's not in the way, I can't let the SSD drop or dangle. That's gonna ruin it. It could unplug. I think that's gonna be enough for me to not want to use that feature. The whole point of recording with your phone is to just be able to whip it out, start recording. Don't worry about putting in SD cards, whatever. It all goes to the same place, and then I transfer it at a later time. Obviously, if I really need to use my phone to shoot for something, and I know that I'm going to go over 50 minutes, then I'll bring an SSD. But I don't want to be walking around the showroom floors or at events and be using my phone and have to have an SSD on it the whole time. So I'm cool with 50 minutes. I don't usually get much more than that if it's like a quick B-roll thing. I can offload as I need to, but when I'm roaming around, I don't want to have to worry about another device attached to it like that. Unless there's like someone needs to get into this accessory where they like make a case that slips in an SSD like to the back. I think that exists, or there's something like that. That would be cool. Then I'd be into the idea a little bit more. But yeah, log footage, you got to work with it a little bit, but it grades nicely, and you can make it look pretty decent. If you're trying to go with the film look, I think there's been some great examples already out there. So I'm into that. The 5x zoom looks good. I don't know how often. I don't really use my telephoto that much anyways. I've been using it more for portraits though, because I've noticed the 5x portraits have way more natural bokeh on them, obviously, since you're zooming in like that. Yeah, so far so good. I'm going to have a mini review up. By the time you listen to this, I should have it up already, so you can go check it out. And then we'll check in as time goes on. Speaking of, how is WatchOS 10 for you? Hey guys, just want to take a quick minute to let you know that this episode of the MacRumors Show is sponsored by NordVPN. NordVPN is a VPN service, or virtual private network, that gives users safe and private access to the internet. By encrypting your connection, a VPN hides your IP and online activity from spying eyes and keeps your data safe from criminals. It's incredibly easy to use. Users can connect with one click or enable auto connect for zero-click protection. Choose from 58 plus servers in 60 countries. VPNs are known to slow things down, but not NordVPN. You get amazing speed, and NordVPN is one of the fastest out there. And for you streaming junkies out there, you can access your favorite content anywhere, even if you're traveling abroad. And if you're unaware, there's actually different content on streaming platforms in different countries. Netflix in the US might look a little different from the UK version of Netflix. You can also find services at a lower price. Or if a platform isn't available in your country, simply change your virtual location. There are tons of benefits to having a VPN, and NordVPN is my go-to provider. So grab the NordVPN deal by heading over to www.nordvpn.com/macrumors and get extra subscription time. Try it risk-free now with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks, NordVPN, for sponsoring our show. Okay, so obviously today is just not working out for us. We've had some historic difficulties. So we switched to a different, we're using Zoom now. We did not use Zoom before. So the video is going to look a little different from here on out. And yeah, I mean, for those who are watching, you know, it is what it is. The good news is it seems like Zoom does like auto editing for me where it'll switch back and forth between us. People might like that. Maybe we'll stick with this. And also, you look not nearly as pixelated as you were before. And you were almost like an 8-bit character. Uh, so yeah, now we can see more of Hartley, which I think everyone would rather see much more of you than me. So let's keep this
I don't know
momentum.
about that.
Let's keep this momentum rolling. We seem like we're good now with Zoom. Maybe we'll use Zoom from now on. That seems like the right way to go. All right. So the question that I asked you before the issue started was, what's your thoughts on WatchOS 10 here? Just quickly, have you been liking it?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think it's the most substantial, most meaningful software update we've had for any of Apple's platforms for years at this point. I have almost no complaints about it. The only thing I don't really like is the side button being for Control Center. It feels wasteful to me because I know I can now access Control Center in apps, but it just feels a bit pointless that a whole button and all I can do is like check the battery and turn on a focus mode. It's really not particularly useful. But other than that, I love it.
Okay. I have someone who 100% disagrees with you. It's not me though. One of my friends, uh, when it came out, was like, "This is the worst update I've ever had in my entire life," and thinks that
Why? Why?
none of the new gestures and like button placements and mappings make sense. Yeah,
Oh, I think they make perfect
I'm
sense
just letting you
because
know what the consumer thing. He's a little bit more than an average consumer, but like, you know, he's not like in the world like we are. So
because now the watch face seamlessly transitions into the widgets view, and that seamlessly transitions into the app screen. And the app screen is now organized more sensibly and way easier to organize. So it's all kind of flows into each other. And even when you talk about the UI inside all of the overhauled apps, it's consistent. The UI is now consistent across whether it's weather, whether it's activity, and you have these way bigger buttons with bigger touch targets. There's a lot more color in the interface, actually using the GPU of the Apple Watch properly for the first time to try and get some of these effects. I think it's a great update actually. If only iOS and macOS would be as substantial as this update has been this year.
I thought iOS 17 was a pretty substantial update, more so than people lead it to believe that it is or isn't. I think it is personally.
What do you think is the big stuff coming out of iOS 17 that you would say justifies it as a big update?
Don't put me on the spot. I just said what I said, and I'm going with that. Okay.
No, I just like because what it is, I've been using iOS 17 for so long, and I just
Yeah.
can't remember what's new.
Did you use Watch? You didn't use WatchOS 10 from the beginning?
No, I did, but because WatchOS 10's a bigger change, I feel it more when I use the device. But I truly, really can't remember very much new. Like I remember interactive widgets. I remember the change to the Siri keyword. I remember autocorrect improvements, but I'm struggling past
Ma-
that.
Mail passcodes, same thing as like the authentication. That's a huge one.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of good quality of life things. The swipe to reply in messages, though. Now my same friend who said he didn't like WatchOS 10 also didn't like the messages apps being moved into a different location. I personally really like that because I thought
You
it was
need
a
to get
giant
some new
cluster.
friends, Dan. These are bad takes.
Yeah, he's got some bad takes every once in a while, but he's a lot smarter of a human being than I am. So I gotta listen to him. But it's good to get different perspectives. You know, sometimes I find myself being overly positive with software specifically for some reason than I am with hardware. And so like any kind of change is like, oh great, feed me all of the changes. I just want new things. And then I get blinded by whether they're good or not. But I think there's a lot to it. that I really enjoy. I just, you put me on the spot and I don't feel like answering. So we're going to move on to my next thing, which is, have you had a chance? Did you upgrade Apple Watch? I don't even think we talked about this. Did you get a new Apple Watch or no?
No, no.
Okay.
I was tempted because of double tap, which I know is silly to upgrade just for that. And because it's silly, I didn't do it. But I'm just saying I was tempted.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I upgraded for double tap and I can't even use it. It's unreal that it's just your biggest marquee feature. I mean, it's only a couple of weeks, but we have to wait until October for, which is just like, why? Why do we have to? Why couldn't have they just launched it in October? They've done that before. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing really with the Series 9 and the Ultra 2 is they are small updates.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone disagrees that they are
I mean,
really small. But
the display is noticeably brighter. I will say, I'm using the Ultra 2. I've had many people come up to me and kind of do one of these, like they're looking at it and they're squinting and they're like, "Is that the new Apple Watch Ultra?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can't tell, can you?" And I believe someone even said like the only way you can tell is if you look at the bottom and it says Apple Watch Ultra 2. You want to know what's funny about that? It doesn't actually say Apple Watch Ultra 2. It just says Apple Watch Ultra. So if I was to misplace this, behind me is the other original one. If I was to put these next to each other, if they were wearing the exact same band, I wouldn't know which one's which. I mean, maybe because there's a very prominent scratch that I've noticed on that one, but like there's really no, to the average person who's never seen one or the other, they would have no idea which one's which. But yeah, I mean, we knew this going in. We knew they were going to be quote unquote boring updates. I am really into the double tap idea. And for those of you who are immediately thinking, Dan, you're really into the action button idea. How's that going for you? Give me a couple of days. Okay. Give me a minute. But I want to see what this new, that's just like, it's like the newest thing out of all of it. So I really wanted to test it and we can't do that yet. We have to wait, I'm guessing, for 10.1, right?
probably, yeah. I don't think Apple have said.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm just assuming it's going to come in the next update. And so that is available in October. But what we wanted to do really is just kind of talk through like who should upgrade to these. So let's start with the standard Apple Watch. What if you're sitting at home, who should upgrade to the Apple Watch? You're sitting there, you're thinking, I've got a Apple Watch Series 7. Because we said 13 for the 15 was a decent jump. Is Apple Watch Series 7 to the 9 a good enough jump?
I would say for 90% of people, no. However, I do think there is a very small group of people that should. And I would say if you are female and you can take advantage of the body temperature sensing features that the Series 8's got, and you are into your tech and you also maybe, I don't know, maybe you're into climbing and you feel like you could use double tap when you're doing that, then maybe there is a case for that sort of narrow band of people that could get some advantages from the upgrades we got both with the Series 8 and with the Series 9. But it's a small group of people there. I think that for me, I think that it's the Series 6 or older where it starts to make a little bit more sense. But if you're really into your Apple Watch and you're into your tech more broadly, and you're kind of keeping an eye on the rumor mill, and you're kind of aware that next year we might be getting something a little bit more interesting, then people who have a Series 6 should wait.
Okay, so no joke. I also had another friend text me right before we started recording, and she asked, I want to buy a watch just to track my workouts, steps, etc. Which watch should I get? I was looking at the Series 9 just because it's the newest, but not sure if I need all the fancy features for the extra cost. And I asked her, which one do you have right now? And she said, I had a Series 3, but stopped wearing it over a year ago, and it's dead now. I immediately sent her one that I thought would work for her. What would you have sent?
Apple Watch SE.
Yes. Okay. I mean, that was a no-brainer, right? I was just like, oh, if you just want to do your steps and you had a Series 3 before, this is going to feel like a friggin' huge upgrade. It's so much cheaper.
Yeah. And it's such good value, that device.
Yeah. $249. and she asked me if she should get Apple Care, and honestly, my first instinct is always yes, but then I thought about the watch, and I'm like, how often do you break your watch? And there's no theft or loss, which would be, in my opinion, more valuable than break protection, because I feel like I can easily misplace my watch more so than I would break it. But it was only $50, so I said, honestly, if you just want that peace of mind, then I think go for it. $300 out the door for a new watch. Uh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Um, yeah, I mean the Apple Watch SE is probably going to be our baseline. It's like if you fall into that category of like you just want Apple's fitness tech for basic running, just going on the treadmills and elliptical stuff, like basic workouts that the everyday person probably does. And you're not like a professional runner, you're not doing races and stuff like that, where maybe you want like better GPS and you want to go to the Ultra. You're not doing intense climbs and diving. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're just someone who's just trying to stay healthy and you want to track your health without having to carry your phone everywhere you go. Then yeah, the SE is probably the good baseline. And then on top of that, bonus, you can get your notifications and interact with some apps if you need to. But that's pretty much what most people probably use their watch for. And they look okay. You get 3 options. I think it's silver, starlight, midnight, right? It's like a
Yeah,
black, gray, and
I don't,
gold. I don't know. Like it's a starlight, whatever
I don't
starlight is.
remember
It's
what
yeah, you
color
don't
options the
get
SE is though.
red, you don't get blue. I mean, I think it's like whatever the black color is, and then all that. Anyways, you get some
Yeah,
limitations there. You're not going to get always on display, right? They don't have that on that one, unless the new
no,
one
they
got it.
don't,
Okay,
and they
that's
also
what I
don't
thought.
have the reduced bezels. So they are. It's effectively like taking an Apple Watch
Yeah,
Series 4 and then putting a far newer chip in it, and it's also got a nylon composite back, which makes it a little bit lighter. But other than that, it's really all the average person needs.
yeah,
If you're just interested in basic smartwatch stuff. I mean, no one really needs blood oxygen monitoring. No one really even needs the body temperature sensing, and stuff like crash detection. Even that you get on the SE. There is a decent cross section of features, really good value. It's a little bit like the entry level iPad, really
yeah,
inexpensive Apple device there, or another one like the HomePod Mini. There are these Apple devices out there. We always talk about how expensive Apple devices are, but there are some of these entry level devices that are really good. I mean, even if you think the iPhone SE, what 429? I know it's a slightly older design, but you get a whole iPhone for 429.
yeah. I mean, you can walk out the door with like almost $700 for a new Apple Watch and a new iPhone. Think about that, and then think about the price of like the Apple Watch Ultra, which is $799. So I mean, you're getting 2 devices for the price of one, basically. Yeah, it's not the best of the best, but I think you really don't notice that much of a huge difference in terms of like what you're missing out on a watch more so than on your phone. So I definitely think that if you fall into the person that I just read, their thought process on what they use it for, then yeah, the Apple Watch SE, absolutely the way to go. Obviously, if you want premium materials, stainless steel, then you're going to need to get like an actual numbered series there. Um, so you can look into like a cheaper 7 or 8, but I don't think the 9 is for anyone that isn't, if you're like, I've got a Series 6 or older and I really want to get like the newest one, then yeah, go for it. It'll feel like a good upgrade, but otherwise, save your money, get an SE or stick it out for another year. Which brings us to our like kind of the last main topic. It's kind of like what we're waiting for, which is really the Apple Watch 10, Series 10. Or are they just going to call it X Apple Watch 10? No series behind it?
Uh, I don't think we know. I mean, we've
Yeah,
seen reports of both. It probably isn't even nailed down at this point.
sure.
I mean, who knows? Because the Apple Watch Ultra 2 isn't the Apple Watch Ultra Series 2. It's just the Apple Watch Ultra 2. So maybe we're moving away from this whole series thing with the Apple Watch now in general.
So what are we like? What are we waiting for though with the Apple Watch 10? Like, why should people be like, oh, I should wait for that and be more into that idea as opposed to just getting a Series 9 and being content?
Because it should be the biggest update we've seen. I mean, look at the iPhone 10. The iPhone 10 came the original iPhone, and it was dramatically different. It returned to stainless steel, but let's be honest, in a completely new way, with a new take on this curved design language, full screen design. We had Face ID for the first time. Um, just completely new technologies like wireless charging, which we hadn't had prior to that point. So the iPhone 10 was such a new take on the iPhone. That is what this should be for the Apple Watch. So we're expecting larger displays with even slimmer bezels. And if you've seen a Series 7 or newer, those bezels are already slim. But we're talking even slimmer than that. A new design as well. And other than the Series 4, and a little slight changes with the Series 7. The Apple Watch has effectively had the same design since its introduction in 2014. So we're talking a completely new design and probably a new system for connecting bands as well, which could provide more space for a battery, which could be the first on the standard Apple Watch, at least, not the Ultra, the first proper battery life improvements on the device since its introduction as well. The whole way through, it's been 18 hours. Maybe we'll also get some new health features, maybe blood pressure sensing. And all in all, when you consider that, and then maybe we'll also get improvements with the chip Series 10 or S10, and then probably other minor features, the things that on level with what we had this year with the HomePod integration, precision finding. That's making up for a pretty big upgrade, far bigger than anything we've had since probably the Series 4.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's enough. We've talked about my want for a circular Apple Watch, but that's not going to happen. I would feel really bad for recommending somebody to get a Series 9 and then new bands come on the Series 10. So if you're somebody who is going to want the Series 10, then you should definitely wait, just because of the whole new band system and everything. What happens to the Apple Watch Ultra then?
I think that the Apple Watch Ultra is fine where it is. I think what we're expecting is bezel reductions in the coming years. So the display size should increase, because I think that is one of the Apple Watch Ultra's weak points, in my opinion. I think the bezels are unattractive on that device, especially when you compare it to how thin they are on the 45 millimeter standard Apple Watch. They are stupidly big on the Apple Watch Ultra, which I know is a bit silly. They are very small bezels, but on a device like that, we have got used to something better on the standard Apple Watch. So that is the direction that the Apple Watch Ultra can go in. But let's not forget, the Apple Watch Ultra is a whole new device itself. That's on its own a different path. And in the year that the Ultra came out, we got the Series 8, which was a tiny update. And the Series 9 is also a very small update. The Series 6 was fairly small. The Series 5 was even smaller than that. The Series 3 and the Series 2 were also small. And obviously the Series 1, which is different to the original Apple Watch, was literally just a chip upgrade. So the standard Apple Watch has had such minor upgrades. It's time to give that standard model a bit of love. And, the Ultra's had its time in the sun. The Ultra's a long way off from needing any sort of redesign or any new substantial features, I think.
So if the Series 10 comes out with, like, let's just say they figure out a way to get the blood glucose feature out and ready for that, right? You're going to tell me that the Ultra is not gonna have that feature?
Oh no, I think it will have it. I'm just saying, in terms of a glossy new design, the design is the sort of thing that should be exclusive, and maybe the band system. Or maybe the band system will also come to the Ultra at the same time, and that will be the only difference. And maybe you'll get a bigger battery inside the Ultra as a result. But I'm just saying, the overall look of the Ultra and the overall kind of basic feature set, I think we can expect to broadly mirror the standard Apple Watch at this point, unless there is anything, I don't know. I'm not in the world of like hiking and, I don't know, diving and whatever kind of thing people use the Ultra for. So I don't know what things could still come to the Ultra, but there probably is stuff. I mean, the single feature that the Ultra got this year is a brighter flashlight. So maybe there's still stuff like that they can do with the Ultra that they're not going to do for the standard model.
Hey man, that's important. Okay. That's important.
Yeah.
I've never used the flashlight on my watch before, ever, not a single time. And you could say, oh, never.
I do actually use it.
Nope, never. It's one of those things where, like, I always have my phone by me, so I'll just pull my phone out instinctively, like, oh, I'll use the flashlight on that. And if I don't have my phone and I need a flashlight, I've never once remembered. Maybe now this will spark that. I've never once remembered that my watch could do that ever.
It is useful if you're in a pinch and you don't have your iPhone nearby. It is handy, although it's just not very bright. So it is really like a floodlight. The equivalent of like turning your iPhone around and just using like the front of the display. It's better than nothing. But if you're looking like under a car seat or something, it's not going to really help you.
I'll have to see how the new Ultra does in comparison because I have not tried that yet. Um, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with the Apple Watch, honestly. You have here, what do you think of the, I was going to talk about the bands. What do you think of the FineWoven Apple Watch bands? Do they exist? They're not out. I can't buy one. I can't get them in stores.
They're out now.
What?
They're out now. I believe that they were available
Today?
to order yesterday.
Oh, God. All right. Well, I'll go buy one right now. Talk me through this here. Like, did you get one?
I
Did you go
did
see
not
them?
because well, no, they weren't in the Apple Store when I went because they're only available to order as of yesterday. Yesterday was Monday. So
there was a website that would have told me that.
I think that they are probably a bit nicer than on the iPhone, from what I've seen in pictures.
You can't even get it until October 26th and November 2nd? Is that when it comes out, or am I like so far behind?
I'm not sure. I actually don't know on that one. Maybe it is a little while.
It is. Oh, that's annoying. All right. Well, I guess I don't need to order this right away while we're doing the podcast. Yeah, I really wanted to see that because I actually really like the way they look, and I'm guessing they're going to feel exactly like the watch or the wallet and the case, obviously. So I'd be okay with that as a band.
I think they'll feel better.
Yeah.
They'll feel better as an Apple Watch band. I don't know why I feel like that, but I feel like what diminishes the iPhone case is because the FineWoven feels very, very thin and backed on plastic. And I feel like this like rubbery frame on the case does not feel very nice. But I think on an Apple Watch band, where it's just a single piece,
I feel like it'd be a lot less
be a little bit
sweaty,
better.
a lot less sweaty. Like in the heat, like my leather band gets gross when you're like really sweaty and hot. So not like that gross, but just, it feels like a little wet. You don't like it.
But I think that the only issue is that, of course, FineWoven, as we're learning, stains really badly, and stuff just soaks into it and just doesn't come out. So
What do you
I
mean?
know
So
with
if
leather,
not water wouldn't be an issue, but like you think sweat would stain?
Federico Vitici over at Mac Stories, he at the weekend wrote that he just put his iPhone down on a dining table when he was out and about, and it picked up a stain. I don't know, from something like coffee or whatever, and it's in there. Your phone should be able to be put down on a surface and not stain. That wouldn't even happen with a white silicone case.
That's good too much, Charlie.
It's not looking good for the FineWoven, I think.
Or FineWoven. I didn't want this to be a FineWoven trashing contest but I guess that's where it's going.
I can say good things about it. I don't want to hate on it too much because I haven't used it myself for a prolonged period of time.
Right.
But it's undeniable that there is a really bad reaction here. I mean, we're also hearing that in Apple stores, they're having to replace them every day because they're in just such bad condition by the end of one day that they have to take all of the cases off and then replace them. And we're also hearing that staff are having to be retrained with what to say to customers. When they say, I want leather. Why is this material so horrible? They're being told to say, but it's a luxurious micro twill, and it's much better than leather for this reason and that reason.
So only use this case if you're going somewhere fancy and don't mess it up. Basically, is what they're saying.
Only use this case if you leave it in the box, never touch it, never put it on your phone, and never use it in any way, and then it'll be fine.
Oh my God! All right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of concrete stuff with the Series 10 or the Apple Watch 10. The 9 and the Ultra 2 are kind of meh upgrades. Is there anything around the Apple Watch that you want to tell those before we jet off into the sunset?
I want to ask you about two features on the Series 9 or the Ultra 2. I don't know if you'll have used them, but these are the two that I'm interested in beyond double tap that I know I would use. First is precision finding for iPhone. Have you had a chance to check that out?
No, but I can do it right now if you want. Although my iPhone's sitting right there, so it's probably cheating.
Because I always use the just the audible ping from
Okay.
Control Center. So I know that I would really like it if I didn't have to use that. Because say I don't know, like it's late at night, there's other people in the house that are asleep. You don't want to ping your iPhone. If I can use precision finding to find my
Sorry.
iPhone, across the house.
So the only way you can hold on. There's got to be another way to do that without, because like, okay, if I pull up the control center and I hit that button that we all do to ping, it pings it, and then it brings up precision. But like it's right next to me, so it knows. Like, is there a way to bring it up without pinging? That's what I want to know.
I don't know actually. That's annoying if it has
Right,
to ping it
because
first.
as
Because
you're saying that, I was thinking like, I don't know that you can do that. What is? I don't even know what that
well,
is.
maybe they'll
Uh,
come at some point. And the only other feature I was interested in was the HomePod integration because it's pretty variable on the with the U1 and previous iPhones that have had the Ultra Wideband chip, bringing your iPhone nearby, handing off stuff. And I really like the idea that when you're nearby a HomePod in the Smart Stack, it shows information in the widgets view when you scroll down to suggest playback, or it comes up with playback controls. I know I'd use that. So I have you had a chance to try that one out?
Partly, I hate to say this to you, but no.
What
It's
have you been trying out? Because you haven't tried out double tap, obviously.
I
So
I haven't
what?
done anything with this watch because my entire attention has been devoted to iPhone. I know.
It's
I
understandable this year. It's understandable this year.
right. There's just way more stuff that I haven't even like. I'm gonna get to it, but I'm currently going in. Okay, so I mean, I guess there is a way to. Oh no, wait, that's just directions. I don't want directions. I was trying to see if I can at least answer your question about whether or not I can find my iPhone 15 without. Well, not really. No, I think you have to make it ping. Maybe they'll change that. Um,
Yeah, that's always something they can update.
but no, I haven't even. I don't. Here's the other thing. I don't use HomePods a lot. I use them only at the studio, and that is uh it. I use Google stuff at home. I know. So yeah, I mean, there's really no reason. And the HomePods that I do have are used as a TV, like left and right. So there's no reason for me to go over there and like put my watch near it. Because what am I gonna do? I should do that. I'll do it for the video when I do like get the full review going and stuff. But I don't really use that feature. Um,
I'd be really interested to see what you make of these new features. So you should definitely get a video out on that.
all right. Hartley said it, so now I got to do it. Um, yeah, I mean that's really it. There's not a whole lot with the Apple Watch. I think we've kind of just I guess we never really told you who should upgrade to the Apple Watch Ultra, but I feel like if you have to ask that question, you're not the person to upgrade to the Apple Watch Ultra. If you can't see immediately why you need that, then it's not for you. That's just right. Is that a bad assessment?
Yeah. I mean, it's basically the Ultra 2 is meant for people that have never had an Apple Watch and are first time buyers and they are interested in the Ultra model over the standard model. Or you are coming from a Series 8, Series 7, Series 6, whatever, but a standard model that is not this year's new one.
Yeah.
And that is what you ultimately
Right.
you end up upgrading to. That's what makes sense.
Now, what reasons should a normal person upgrade to it? Larger watch, if that's what you're into, best battery life around. That's really it. There's an action button, and now we have the action button on the iPhones. Now that people are
There's a
familiar,
siren as well,
which is
more
that
accurate GPS.
siren is very generous. It's not that loud. It's definitely not loud enough for somebody to hear me in the woods. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
But
Are you often in the woods and in need of a siren?
no, are you often in a spot where you need a siren?
Nope, never.
Well, then I wouldn't
That's
put
why I'm
that
not an
as
Ultra customer.
I wouldn't put that as a marquee feature. I forgot that there even was a siren on here. I think there are plenty of reasons why a person who doesn't need all of the health and fitness tracking metrics that are like purposefully for the Ultra, all the hiking and diving and stuff. Like I think there are other reasons why you would get it.
Yeah,
It's
like
mostly
the battery's great. It's got a cool design. Like that's
yeah, it's
enough
got
for
a
me
cool
to be
design.
honest. But
Right, exactly. And I like the orange accents. The action button, I don't use it as much, but maybe if I find something on the iPhone's action button that I really like, and then maybe that'll spark a like a flame in me to start going action button crazy and use it on my watch. But that's there too, so you can program it to be whatever you want. Um, and then honestly, it's just the higher end Apple Watch, and so that's it. Should you go from an Apple Watch Ultra 1 to a 2? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Your watch is totally fine. Unless you really think that double tap feature is for you. Hopefully you can sell your Apple Watch Ultra 1 for a good price to be able to offset the cost a little bit. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys like Zoom better than our normal arrangement that we currently used. Let me know if you're watching this on YouTube, and we'll maybe look into doing that in the future. Yeah, we'll catch everybody in the next episode.